Okay, what's up, guys? My name is TMossBoss, and I wanted to let you guys know about Anchor. Anchor is an app that you can download to record your podcast in the easiest way ever. Like, it doesn't require a whole lot to know. Like, you just pretty much press record and you just start doing your podcast and stuff. I don't know what you plan on doing, but you plan on doing something. That's why you're here. So, yeah, download Anchor, or you could go to their website, anchor.fm, and yeah, you could do it straight from your computer too. So yeah, it's easy. They distribute everything to they distribute your podcast to every streaming services like out there, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere. Okay, and then you can monetize it, so you're making money off of what you love doing. All right, so people, make sure you do it. Make sure you download Anchor, or you go to their website, anchor.fm. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for listening. Peace. Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. Now, in this episode, it's going to be different. Instead of reading off some relationship advice story and things, I'm gonna kind of be blending in random talk and relationship, kind of like a blend between the two. So instead of like reading off a story, I'm just gonna be pretty much like thinking of something that I can talk about, like about relationships, and then just in a way freestyle. Excuse me, I had me some popcorn chicken, so the after burps, I should have got me some water. That probably would have helped. But anyways, so first thing that I wanted to talk about, what does it mean when a girl's like not responding to your messages? I feel like there could be like many possibilities behind that. And probably I have to say the one that would make, I don't know, because it would overall be rude if a girl is just like flat out ignoring your messages and things. And especially if you ain't even looking in like for a relationship out of her. But let's say like, if you are and things, if she's not responding to your messages, she's most likely not interested, or she is talking to another guy and she doesn't want to be disrespectful to that other guy. And the reason why I say that is because there was a time where I can't remember who that girl was, but it was a girl that I went to school with. And oh yes, I now know, but I ain't gonna put her on blast and things, but it's like I now know. But anyways, cause the last time I seen her, I think I was in like preschool and elementary or something. So it's been a while and things. And so anyways, I messaged her, to just like see how she's doing and things. Cause yeah, she had like a kid and all this stuff. So I'm like, yeah, yo, that's pretty cool. Like that's pretty dope and things. So anyways, but no, she had messaged me and she told me like, hey, my boyfriend doesn't like when I'm talking to other guys. And so I'm like, oh, like, say no more. Like, my thing is that I respect relationships. I respect all that stuff. Like, so if I'm like, honestly, I was just trying to catch up and just see how she was doing and stuff. So anyways, but yeah, I was like, I wasn't tripping about it and things, but no, she's like, but then like, I think they did end up breaking up. So I was just like, I don't know, I wasn't necessarily like shooting my shot, but usually like when any of my friends, they be dealing with breakups, I'm usually there for them and stuff. I don't know how many times I'm like, what can I like say, like, I don't even know, save a friend, Captain Save a Friend. Because I don't know how many times friends of mine's that, like, there's friends that I've became friends with them because they've dealt with some breakup and things. I'm like, hey, I understand, like, how heartbreaking a breakup can be and things, but, it's like, you just need to get some stuff off your chest because, it can, like, with a breakup, there's, like, a lot of things can affect a person and stuff during that, like, period. So that's why I'm like, yo, like, my thing is that I don't want, like, this breakup to happen and then other things come into place and then you overall feel like you're alone here and stuff. So that's why I'm like, I try to be involved in all my friends' life and things. Like if I see them posting about some stuff they dealing with, I'm like, hey, I'm here for you. If you need somebody to talk to, like that's just one thing people need to know about me and stuff. But anyways, no, like breakups, they really can affect people. I'll never forget. It was that I'll probably have to say it was even like I got caught in the middle of it. And I was like, dang, like it did, I guess in a way it did make me a little bit closer with like both parties. But so it was a friend of mine's from, I've known him since elementary. But anyways, I don't know, because it was so long ago, so I feel like it doesn't matter if I talk about it. But I ain't gonna say any names. I'm not gonna say any names or anything. Like, I guess only he would know, because I'm pretty sure like people probably wouldn't remember or know who I'm even talking about. And if any friends listening to this podcast, if you ask, like, I'm not gonna tell you. I feel like that it is a personal matter, and until like it's brought up with him, then I'm like, okay. But yeah, until I'm not gonna say any names or tell anybody who it was and stuff. But anyways, so he had started dating this girl, and yeah, she was cool and all. Like, I didn't really talk to her and stuff because I didn't know who she was. So I remember there was like a day she she walked home with us, and we like pretty much like the whole gang had got to know her and things. It was just like a gang of us that would walk home, and we were just like, and we were multicultural. It wasn't a bunch of black people. In fact, this friend, he was Hispanic, okay, but he kind of looked white. So therefore, yeah, we were a multicultural. There was, of course, me, the black, an Asian, a white, like, yeah, we were a Hispanic, like, yeah, I like multicultural friends. Like, I feel like a gang of us and we're all black, we most likely had the cops called on us. But anyways, so yeah, we were all walking home, chilling and stuff, and then yeah, it's like we got to know her and she was cool. So anyways, then there's another time that's when everything has started. That's when the whole thing has started. So anyways, we're walking home. We're always having fun, cracking jokes, doing things to make each other laugh and stuff. But he was being quiet. So I don't know if I approached him and said like, hey, you cool? Or I think he called for me. I think he was just all like, hey, Tyler. So I'm like, yeah, I was like, what's up, bro? So he put his arms out. And I'm just like, what is he doing? I'm thinking he's playing around. I'm like, okay, if you want to get body slammed, all you just had to do was just say body slam me. I'm like, I'm going to do my best to do it. I'm a like skinny, fragile man, but like I'll try my best. So anyway, I ain't body slam him. If I body slammed him, especially what he was just dealing with, I'm like, that had been so wrong. That was like, but no, so he was, so he started crying. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? So he like embraced me for a hug and things. I'm like patting him on the back, like, hey, it's gonna be all right, man. Like, just let's just all take a breather here. So anyways, then our other friends, they started noticing it, and so yeah, so we're like, I'm kind of like flipping out because I'm like, yo, what's going on? So anyways, he told me what happened. And I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, and at that point, I'm like, I don't have to like ask him. I'm like, nah, I'm like, I'm like letting him know, like, hey man, it's gonna be all right. Like, like things will work out in the future and stuff. Like, but that's like, I feel like at the time being, like, when people tell you that, and I'm just gonna like, this is my little advice to you guys. It doesn't matter what you're dealing with. You're not expected to get over it that same day. If it's gonna take you some time, let it take as much time as you possibly need to. Like, but just do things like throughout that time period, do things that's going to overall take your mind off of the whole situation. So I wish I had been like, the advice that I give out today, I wish I was giving that out in my like younger days and stuff. So anyways, yeah, so he's crying, and then he told me to call her, and I'm like, I don't really want to do that, but I guess. But I don't know, like, if she comes at you with an attitude, because like I said, I don't really, like, know her and things. And so, anyways, I'm like, I'm just hoping that she doesn't come at me or him with an attitude, and then they start yelling and stuff. Because I'm using my phone, so I'm like, all right, like, y'all, like, because I'm like, I don't know. I kind of have, like, a fear with people using my phone. I'm like, I don't really like people using my phone and stuff. But anyway, so I called her, and then was just all like, hey, what happened with you and such and such. And then she started crying, and then he's crying, and I'm sitting in the middle of it all, and I'm like, why is everybody crying? Can we all just please, everybody, just stop crying for just 1 second. That's all I'm asking for. Just everybody, just. So she's trying to explain herself, and then I'm like telling him, and then he starts crying, and then he's telling me to say this to her, and I'm just all like, and it would, to me, it was just so weird, because he's saying stuff like, oh, I'm always going to love you, and I'm repeating it back saying, yeah, he said he's always going to love you. And I'm like, I don't know why, it's just weird with me, because I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm like, and then I think that's when I had offered my phone. It was just like, hey, do you want to talk to her and stuff? Because I just feel very uncomfortable right now. So, anyways, yeah, so they ended up, they just ended up breaking up. But now it's like, making sure like both of them was okay and things, and like checking up on them and stuff. Because I'm like, yo, it's kind of messed up, like with like everything that's going on. But it's cool though, because there's checking up on her. There's like other people that I like met in her friend group that I'm friends with till this day and things. And so I was like, I guess that like benefited me in a way because I'm like made a few new friends and stuff. But yeah, that's probably another thing. Like, I guess if a friend comes out and says that they want to help, then that's one thing. But to get friends involved when they don't even need to be involved, yeah, don't get your friends involved in your relationship issues. Like, that's why I'm like, I don't want to necessarily take sides in like relationship problems. Cause I'm like, but that's between y'all. Like, when you guys look at me and be like, didn't they do this one thing that one day at, and it was like midnight, and then you seen it, right? And I'm like, look, I'm not involved. That's between y'all. All right, whatever is going on, that's between you guys. Please don't get me involved, because then then when I answer it truthfully, or then it's like, cause see, here's the thing. I answer it truthfully, then one friend's gonna be mad. But then if I'm lying, then that friend's gonna be mad. So I'm like, that's why I think it's best, like, I don't know, like, don't be friends with your like best friend or friend's significant other, because it's just gonna be problems for you. So constantly like because I had classes with the girl, and then I walked home with him. So then she's telling me stuff, and then he's telling me stuff, and I'm like, can we please just talk about video games? Like, Grand Theft Auto just came out a few days ago. Can we talk about that, please? Like, no, actually, Grand Theft Auto wasn't even out then, so I've been lying. What games came out? Because I think that was my junior year in high school when all of that stuff went down. I was like, dang, man. I don't know, like, I've had some friends that's been in some, like, crazy relationships and stuff, and then I overall, like, somehow, like, get in the mix of things. Like, I've seen, like, couples, like, fighting and stuff, like, bruh, I'm saying, like, I've seen couples get in the classrooms and start arguing. It was, like, a lot of relationships going on in my high school. It was a lot of relationships. Like, it was, I'll never forget when one of my friends, she sent me, and that's why I'm like, I don't know. That's why it's just, if the relationship ends, like, if it ends, like, something bad happened, like, one cheated or was talking to, and that's where it's like, where does, like, cheating, when is that, like, when you cross the line with cheating? My thing is that if you're talking to another person as if you are single, that's cheating. Nowadays, like, cheating has got, like, I feel like that it's always, like, been established where it's like, okay, if you're talking, texting, whatever to another person, you're cheating. You are cheating. And I guess, like, if this person, if they're, like, a friend of yours, then all right. But no, I'm saying if you're talking to the other person as if you are single. Like, it's one thing where you're all, like, you guys are, like, texting each other, like, hey, how's your day going? My day's going good. How's your day going? Oh, that's cool. Bought some new shoes today. Oh, dope. What kind of shoes did you buy? I bought me some Jordans. Nice. That's not cheating. But if you're like, hey, let's do some freaky stuff tonight, and then they're all like, okay, your place or my place? They're all like, oh, well, your place because my significant other is here. That's cheating. That's double cheating, because y'all are talking about it and then y'all are actually committing with the act. So that's why I'm like, yeah, that's nah. But here's the thing. Then I know that that's another thing where it's like, what if the other person comes on to you while you're in a relationship? I wouldn't necessarily, it's how you respond to it. So if you respond to it saying that, hey, I'm in a relationship, don't touch me, you're not cheating. But if you're just like, if you're allowing like the girl or guy to make out with you and your significant other, they catch it from afar and things, yeah, and then you're all like, no, wait a minute, it was a mistake. Like, nah, they was like temporarily cheating. Like, you wasn't like, and it would have led on into full on cheating and stuff. So that's why I'm like, yeah, if you allow a person to come on to you and you don't do anything about it, yeah, that's cheating. That's just full on cheating. That's why I'm like, that's one thing that I'm like, kind of like, I don't know, like, what I'm more so scared of with relationships is like, if this significant other, she just somehow like just falls, because you hear that, like, reading some of the stories where it was like, what was the one story where the husband slept with the mom's son, and he was talking about how he fell out of love with her, and then he was gay and all that. And I'm like, man, that's just one thing where I'm all like, man, that's just messed up. Like, you know, how does a person see? Here's the thing, that's that type of stuff. It is hurtful, you know, and that's more so something that you just gotta like prepare yourself for. But overall, like, if you really like love this relationship that you're in, you know, you think it's going well. If you think it's going well, take it to the next level. Do things for that relationship so it is a like long lasting relationship. You know, don't be like, oh, okay, so now that we're in a relationship, you know, I ain't gotta do nothing. We can just take a break. Like, my thing is that I gotta be planning like relationship attacks every single day. Every single day. To the girl, the relationship might be overwhelming, but I don't know. Me, I'm just like, that's why I'm just like more so. I think I would straight up just tell the girl that, like, you know, if we do get in a relationship, I feel like that would be a conversation. Like, no, it ain't gonna be like an argument or anything. So I'm just like, that's one thing that I'm afraid of, is that one day, like, you know, if you fall out of love with me, that's just gonna be hurtful to me and things. Cause, you know, like, I don't even know what I did wrong. See, it's like when you hear stuff like that, and it's just like, how do you fall out of love with the person? You know, like, if a person, like, my thing is, like, if the relationship, I don't know, if it's, like, arguments and all that stuff, then I guess I can understand, like, if y'all get into a lot of arguments and stuff, and then it always just, like, leaves a bad, like, you know, like, feeling in the airs and stuff, like, you know, then I guess I can understand, but and then see, and that's the thing where it's like the other might still love you, but then you don't love that person. And I guess like if you do bring up the whole argument thing, I feel like, okay, that's probably like a good reason for the relationship to end, or for you to say like, well, I've fallen out of love out of you and stuff. But if one day we're just chilling, you know, we just relaxing or some stuff like that, no arguments, no problems, nothing, and then just out of nowhere you just hit me with, oh, this relationship has to end, I've fallen out of love with you. That's some stuff where I'm like, you don't want to cheat on me, but you overall, like, you know, and then yeah, but it's like, so in order to like go like, you know, be with other people, like, you don't want to cheat on me. See, I'm like, nah, like, you know, if I think I would rather take it where you're saying like, oh, you know, like, I don't see this relationship going any further, like, I want to get into other relationships and stuff. I feel like that's more accepting than a person saying that I've fallen out of love with you. I've like that, because to me, I'm just like, how is that even possible when I've never even did anything wrong? I'm not gonna say that I'm a perfect person, but I know I never wronged you. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I don't know how that's possible. I'm not overall forcing, you know, you to love me and things, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know what I did to hear those words. So I'm like, but hey, do your thing. I'm like, I don't know. Cause I think about that type of stuff. So I'm like, okay, you know, I ain't gonna, you know, it most likely probably would upset me and things, but I think I kind of like know the situation. So I'm like, oh, I'm like, that's why I'm like, look, if you want to be in your other relationships, like, just say that. But I'm like, don't tell me some like William Shakespeare type stuff where I'm like, oh, we gotta be all dramatic and say dramatic things. Like, just hit me with the truth. You don't see this relationship going anywhere and you want to be in other relationships. Okay. That's all. To me, I'm like, that's all that you really have to say. And I'm like, oh, well, all right. Like, my thing is, I don't know. I feel like that would end on a better term, because it's like when you tell a person some stuff like that, like the other thing, then it's just, they're going to be confused. And then they're going to be trying to figure out, like, how does a person fall out of love with somebody? Because I don't know. My thing is that you can't overall, like, I guess you can, like, dislike them, like family and things, but like, if your family never did you wrong, how do you fall out of love with your family? You don't. That's your family. You never fall out of love with family. But and it's like, then it's like adding it with the significant other, where it's like you one day hope that y'all have a family and things, but then they just hit you with some stuff like, oh, I've fallen out of love with you. Then that's what I'm like, what's really going on? Like, I feel like that there's more to it. Like, whatever you know, like, if whatever you gotta tell me and things. Like, I'm not trying to hear, like, other things. And the reason why I say that is, like, don't say stuff thinking that it's not gonna hurt a person's feelings. Like, tell them the truth. Overall, you guys, like, I feel like people have to tell people the truth. in order for them to like move forward in life, like they have to like know what's really going on. Because I think I did talk about that on my podcast before. The girl that didn't like me because I was black. So anyways, yeah, she was, because I was trying to like figure out like what's wrong with me. Like, you know, I ain't never did you wrong. I ain't never. So I'm like, why would it be a problem if we just, you know, if we just dated? Like, I'm like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Is it the like, what, am I doing something wrong? Like, what? Like, I was also like, no, there's like really like, there's something behind it. I'm like, no, there has to be something behind this. Because I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong as a person. It's like, so you're going to be sitting there questioning everything. It's like, what's wrong with me? Like, is something really wrong with me? And so, anyways, yeah, then she just flat out said, like, oh, yeah, I can't date black guys. Like, you know, she was just like, I just overall can't date black people because I guess, so she didn't overall tell me it was like I think, no, what did she tell me? What did she tell me? Well, I do remember I was like, it was years later, I seen a YouTube video where they said Hispanic parents don't accept their kids dating black people. But I don't know if she said that. I don't know if she said that it wouldn't work out because of her family. She might have. Yeah, I honestly, I can't even remember. That's why I'm like, I don't know. Like, at the time being, I probably wasn't really paying attention to it if she did say it. But then it was like, once when I heard it from somebody else, and then the video went viral, then I was just like, oh, well, then, yeah, that would make sense. Like, that's like that in every household. And that's where I'm like, you got, like, for the parents out there and stuff, don't be that parent where you're like, oh, you're not allowed to date this race because of their background history. Like, so for colored people, you know, Hispanics, Asians, or blacks, or anybody where they're all like, don't date white people because they're all racist. Not all white people are racist. I'll tell you that right now. There's not all white people that's racist. The only thing that really upsets me about a white person dating another race is when they try to act like that other race. Now, you don't really hear it with Hispanic people or Asian people or anybody else, but you will hear about that stuff with a black person dating a white person. So that's why I'm like, it kind of upsets me when I see a white man or a a white man or a white woman trying to act black. That's the type of stuff I'm like, you don't have to change who you are for me. Like, I feel like that if the other, and that's just the whole key to this part of the episode, accepting others. Accept people. But I'm overall like these type of women, like, I'm not going to tell you to change who you are as a person. Like, if you're doing some foul stuff, like, I don't know, freaking, because I was watching Walking Dead, I remember. So, yeah, if you're doing, like, some Daryl Dixon type stuff, hunting squirrels and eating them, I'm like, yeah, that's not normal. You know, we can overall go to Safeway and, get some food there, but you ain't gotta like hunt down squirrels and kill them. That I just feel uncomfortable in a relationship like that. I don't know. See, that's the thing. I'm like, there have to be like a reason for me to continue dating that girl, and she's doing some stuff like that. I definitely would make fun of her for it. I'm like, you can't be like normal people and just go to McDonald's and get your food. Like, no, you gotta like wait for it to, you know, wake up and things and then go and hunt it down. And I'm like, that ain't normal. I'm like, I don't know why you out here killing squirrels and there's so many restaurants and stores you can go to for food. She talking about squirrels taste good. I'm like, okay, well, you don't see the neighbors doing it, so I don't know why you're doing it. I'm like, it's kind of weird, but I'm like, but then I feel like that is changing the person. So I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm like, you can't like overall get me into that type of stuff. Like, we can be cool and all, but I'm just not with the whole squirrel hunting stuff, because I'm like, that ain't me. I'm like, I feel like then there's gonna be a girl, she's gonna be like, oh, I can change your mind. Like, I feel like I'm gonna get like so deep in a relationship, and she's just like, oh, I gotta tell you something. I heard that episode you did on your podcast, and then you were talking about women hunting squirrels and stuff. Well, I'm a squirrel hunter, and I'm like, I ain't built this like bond and love and all this stuff with her, and then she tells me, she drops a bomb on me like that. I'm like, well, then I feel like that, okay, like, I feel like, dang, like, what I overall try to change. I feel like a person shouldn't change a person, but if you doing some weird stuff like that, like, what do you expect if a person doesn't accept? I feel like the only reason I said this to this girl on TikTok, because she came out in this video and she was overall talking about how she has to like change her appearance because people like, or the like guy that she likes doesn't accept her. Don't change for anybody. Change on your own terms. So me, I would be expecting her to change the whole squirrel killing stuff. Like if she does that, then I'm like, okay. Then she's like, she's building herself as a person. I think she realized like we're not in a zombie apocalypse, so I don't overall have to, hunt down squirrels and kill them. Like I'm like, yeah, that ain't cool. Like squirrels are just like nice looking animals and stuff. Like, you don't want to, like, as a kid, you try to chase squirrels. Dogs be chasing squirrels. I ain't never seen no cat chase no squirrels, so I gotta see that one day. I gotta look that up on YouTube. But anyways, like, that's somewhere I'm like, like, getting back on the accepting others. Like, I would accept her as a person. Just that one thing about her, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna look at it differently. But I would want her to change that on her own terms. So I feel like a person changing for the person that they're in a relationship with, they do it on their own terms and then they can accept it. I feel like that's a good relationship. That is a good relationship when a person, they're all like, oh, they feel uncomfortable when I'm out here chasing down squirrels and killing them, so I need to stop that. That's no more. They like, if she approached me and she said, babe, I'm done. I'm no longer killing squirrels. I'm like, cool, dope, I'm happy. Like, let's go out and celebrate, going to an actual restaurant and stuff. But anyways, yeah, I just feel like that people, they just have like a hard time accepting others. I'm like, don't go your whole life like not, I'm not saying like date everybody in the world, but like if there's something good going on in your life and then you can't accept it because of what your parents, I'm like, that's one thing I think I remember I told my parents when I was young, when I was like, yeah, when I was a kid, I definitely remember telling my mom, this was kid me saying this. I was like, how old was I? I think I might have been like 7 or 8, because I remember there was this girl that I had liked at my school, and she was Mexican. Told my mom I'm marrying a Mexican woman when I get older. In my head, I was marrying that girl, but I was just all like, no, when I get older, I'm marrying me a Mexican woman. Then I'm like, y'all don't understand. Like, I seen something here. There's something like, there's like that passion for like Hispanic women in my head, and I'm like, yup. I like Hispanic women. Like, that's one thing for sure. I'm like, I cannot deny that. I'm sorry, but I'm like, it doesn't mean like, I'm not saying like, for a black woman, she comes to me, she's just like, oh, I can accept changing who I am, so she's gonna, join a Spanish class, learn how to speak Spanish, and then change her skin tone. No, you ain't gotta do stuff. Me, I should accept you for you. So if you're a black woman or a white woman or Asian, Indian, whichever, I don't care, whatever you are, me as a person should accept you. And if you want to change on your own, something like that, see, and then that's the thing, like, what if a person changed, but the other person doesn't like it? Because you'll hear that sometimes, like, when a person gets a haircut and then their significant other doesn't like the haircut. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like anybody and everybody can get haircuts. So if I was dating a girl, she's had this long hair for the longest, but all of a sudden, like, cut all her hair off. Like, she's bald now. She's just full on bald. I'm like, if she wants to rock that look, that's on her. I'm not going to criticize. I'm not going to, say anything bad about it. I'm like, that's on her. But I feel like me as a person, I'm an adult, so I should be able to accept that type of stuff. Just like the squirrel killing or whatever crazy random thing she got going on in her life. But a haircut, yeah, I'm like, I've heard situations and stories like that. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I can get on a girl for having, like, cutting all her hair off. Like, if I'm like, yeah, if I got into a relationship, I feel like that stuff, that's something where I'm like, if I get into a relationship and she has like long hair, but then she cuts it all off, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, it is what it is. Like, I overall, like, I can't have no say so in what you do with your body and things. And so if it's like, then something like that, cutting all your hair off, it ain't like it's unhealthy. So then that brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about. When you're dating somebody, but then they gain, or they do have like a very dramatic weight change. And you'll hear about it like on TV shows like My 600-Pound Life, but let's say she lost like a lot of weight and it was like unhealthy, like she couldn't stand, like she honestly looked like a crackhead. No disrespect to crackheads, I hope y'all, make it out of whatever you guys is dealing with. But anyways, no, I'm saying like, jokes aside, like it's just her weight class is at an unhealthy weight. Do you accept the person then? If it's killing them, okay, if what they're doing is killing them, I can't accept that. That's why I'm like, okay, then that's why I'll have to draw the line. Like if I was dating a girl and if she out of nowhere had gained 500 pounds to the point where she can't stand up, it hurts when she walks 2 feet, I gotta help her shower. You should never help a person shower. My thing, like to me, it's a sacred moment. I guess if you guys is being intimate in your shower sessions, then that's one thing. But if I'm sitting here, if I got like a scrubber and I'm all like, babe, lift your roll up real quick because I didn't get that spot, and I'm sitting there scrubbing at her side with I'm like, this is not a shower. This is not a shower. You ain't no kid and I ain't bathing you. So therefore I'm like, that's why I'm like, nah, we gonna have to fix this. We're gonna have to fix this. Like just to add more to my boyfriend resume, I will help you if you are dealing with some stuff. So if it's like some weight stuff like that, because you hear sometimes, I guess like on that 600-pound life where they're all like, oh, I gained all this weight because something dramatic happened in my life and things. And so that's why I'm like, okay, I will be there for that person, but I will also let them know like eating cheeseburgers, and not just one cheeseburgers, 3 in the morning for breakfast, 4 at lunch, and then 5, then you have 2 more for luck because you're all like, oh, my lucky number is 7, so I gotta have 7 cheeseburgers right now. I'm like, that's nah. I'm like, you need to cut that down to like 1. Like I don't mind if you eat like 1 like at each period time, but if you notice that your body is gaining a lot of weight and you're breathing hard for no reason, yeah, I'm like, nah, you gotta we gotta fix that. We gotta fix that. I don't want you to have no heart attack on me, because then it's like, what if you have kids? Then I'm like, that's something where I'm like, I don't want to like tell my kids, oh yeah, your mom ate a lot of food and she had a heart attack and died. That's something I'm like, nah, you shouldn't have to tell your kids some stuff like that. So anyways, yeah, I'm like, if it's unhealthy stuff, like then it's like a smoking habit. I know like people would smoke. That's why I'm like, or a drinking habit, any unhealthy habit. I'd be like, if it's, because to me, I don't know. I'm like trying to think, can I date a girl that's a smoker? Because I'm like, you can't overall die from weed, but I don't want to talk to you when you're high and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know, like, if there's like a legitimate reason why, like she has like some issues in her life and like that's what was the best recommendation for her is to smoke weed and things, I'm like, all right, but if she's smoking cigarettes, I'm like, nah, like that's when I'm gonna have to stop you. I'm like, please don't smoke cigarettes, because you don't see them commercials. The kids, the one commercial that I was just like, them commercials are so creepy. The guy had to like take some he took like a tool and snatched one of his teeth out to pay for some cigarettes, and then the one girl had to like peel, like it wasn't even like some dead skin, like she peeled some skin off of her cheek. Like, what was that movie? Poltergeist, and the man was in the bathroom and he was like scratching at his face and his face was falling in the sink. Yeah, it was some stuff like that for that smoking commercial. I'm like, you don't be watching them commercials? You don't remember them commercials when we were kids and them kids be all flattened on the sofas and stuff? Them commercials, it's like when you get older and then you like watch them and you just realize how funny them commercials is. But anyways, yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I can date a girl that's a smoker. Yeah, because I'm like, there's no reason for that. Like, because then it's like, they're like, oh, stress, anxiety, and all this. I'm like, look, I feel like a lot of people do deal with anxiety. I might deal with it. I know I deal with stress because there's a lot of things that be stressing me out in life. But I'm not going to... And cigarettes are expensive. So that's even more so of a reason why I wouldn't do that type of stuff. I'm like, even if they were cheap, I'm just like... And if they're cheap, then they're like, okay, then that's honestly not good for you. So, yeah, I'm like, no. And if there's something that I'm doing, because I know there's going to probably be a day where a girl that I do come across, she's going to notice that I have me a little Red Bull habit. And if this girl, if it's like bringing her to tears, like me drinking Red Bull and all that, do you guys not understand like how far and beyond I would go for a relationship? If I was gaining a lot of weight, I would lose it. If I was losing a lot of weight, I would gain some weight, and like in a reasonable amount where I'm like I can overall do things. If I had to knock out this Red Bull habit, she wanted me to eat healthy foods and drink healthy foods. I'm like, it would probably be something hard for me to do, but I'm like, if she's all like, it's overall gonna be healthier for you and stuff, I'm like, okay, if it's gonna be healthier for me, and you see this relationship going somewhere and stuff, then okay, cool. All of that. All of it. I honestly would. No jokes about it. So, anyways, what else can I talk about with relationship? I feel like I was going over a lot of stuff. I was on the road too. I did 30 minutes of doing this. Dang, I should try doing this again. I don't know what else I can honestly talk about though. I'm like, I feel like there's more, but I'm just like, I don't know. I honestly do not know. But, anyways, yeah. I hope this was helpful. Because I feel like people, they need some. And if you do have any questions, just let me know. If anything, so I'm like, yeah, because I wish they did have like a question one, but for relationships, kind of like to ask questions. This like, because that's what I wanted. This was originally gonna be like a random talk blended in with the relationship advice. But then I was just like, then I got the idea like, oh, they might have like relationship questions and things. And so, nope, didn't find that. But I wish. So, anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. If you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're viewing this on the podcast streaming service, make sure you follow or subscribe, however it's set up. And if you're purchasing tickets from SeatGeek, make sure you use my promo code TMossBoss. It will knock $20 off your first purchase. And in that being said, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching and or listening, and peace.